All set?
I was ready like
Okay.
where you been? I've been
Okay,
ready
very
for
good.
half an hour.
You went to Starbucks, right?
Right, that's right, that's where I was. Well, welcome everyone. I'm Keith Bergman, Town Administrator for the town of Littleton. I've been saying for the next week, and that's a fact. And I'm just, it's been a great run in Littleton and 40 years as a municipal manager, and I couldn't be more pleased than to have today's event be one of the, I think, crowning achievements of a municipal career and what a community can do to achieve its goals. So I'm pleased to welcome back to Littleton Massachusetts Housing and Executive and Economic Development Secretary Jay Ash for his announcement today about the 2018 MassWorks infrastructure grant program in support of the Littleton Common Smart Sewer project. I first met Jay Ash when he was city manager in Chelsea, and he was serving as president of the Metropolitan Area Planning Council. And I got
President now.
And who's president now?
Oh,
And so Jay has just been a role model for me, and I appreciate very much his support for MAPC and his leadership there and at the Commonwealth. That we're happy to have friends in high places, and we feel like we've got an awful lot of friends in the current administration there. And this is not Jay Ash's first official visit to Littleton. This summer, he met with our entire Board of Selectmen to talk to us about the Smart Sewer project, so we had a great opportunity to pitch. He was also there the night that we launched the revitalization, a public forum for the revitalization of Littleton Common, the effort that's spearheaded by our Master Plan Implementation Committee. So so we appreciate his interest in what's going on in our community. We're grateful for his advice too, that including his suggestion that we meet not only with his staff but with the staff of Energy and Environmental Affairs Secretary Matt Beaton, and we got to have that meeting with Secretary Beaton's team last week. The revitalization of Littleton Common is a principal strategy in the town's master plan, which was updated last year. And even before that, the Littleton Common overlay zoning efforts that took place earlier this decade, and which engaged our residents and businesses on what their vision for this part of town is and what they'd like to see, led to the 2010 town meeting's approval of the Littleton Common Village Zoning and Overlay District, which directly led to what we see across the street at the Point, with restaurants and retail, hotels, movie theaters, and a lot more to come. And we want to continue to expand the economic activity in Littleton Common, and that's why we're so excited about this project that we're discussing today. The Littleton Common Smart Sewer is the Littleton Board of Selectmen's highest legislative priority. And we think we've got an innovative project here that addresses housing and economic development and energy and environmental goals, which can be a model for other communities throughout the Commonwealth. The town is grateful for its partnership with the Baker-Polito administration, and we have much to be thankful for, even before the announcement you're going to hear today, that Littleton was part of the first regional community compact for the Crosstown Connect Transportation Management Association. Much of the initiatives that we've achieved include serving the Littleton Common area and our businesses. We've seen an expanded schedule on the Fitchburg line to Littleton Station. We have a commuter rail shuttle that connects Littleton Station with Littleton Common. And we're about to launch park and ride spaces at IBM as of Monday for Littleton users of commuter rail shuttle users. Littleton has also been designated under the Housing Choice Program, Complete Streets, Green Communities, And appreciate that the governor and the lieutenant governor has singled us out for attention on a number of occasions just this year by featuring Littleton at the launch of the Housing Choice Initiative last December, and also featuring us in the celebration of the Community Compact program at the State House this summer. And our businesses have been great beneficiaries as well through the Economic Development Incentive Program. We've had a number of tax increment financing agreements over the years, most recently for Patriot Beverages at the former Very Fine plant, for which that business got $625,000 in state investment tax credits. And more recently, through the MassDOT's Industrial Rail Access Program, grants totaling $1 million for two of our businesses, Patriot Beverage and Middlesex Corporation, for rail spurs along the Fitchburg line. And in fact, that Middlesex Corp, you may have seen, we got a lot of play out of that the ribbon cutting for Mass Ready Mix has shown up in a number of campaign commercials over the summer, and you've seen those sort of nonstop in recent weeks. But we have a lot to be thankful for from the administration, and it's just a pleasure to welcome back to Littleton one of my favorite representatives of the Baker-Polito administration, Secretary Jay Ash. Come on up.
That was awesome. I hope this isn't being carried to other communities, because, boy, that was a long list of things that have happened here. I feel like I'm embedded here. It's great to be with everyone. I have a little inside joke here. I have not had breakfast or lunch yet, partly because I figured El Forno was on the menu. Is that not?
Funny. We
Talked to Mike Muhammad last night. He's waiting for you.
Really? Okay.
We had the manager.
And we do it. The manager of El Forno was here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So that's an inside joke because we. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. When Jay came to our selectmen's meeting in July, we had arranged catering from El Forno, and it was to die for. It was great.
To die for.
Yeah, it was great, especially the one-of-a-kind homemade milkshake, chocolate frap.
Exactly. So that was all real good. So while we were very impressed with the application submitted by the town, and while we've had tremendous support from your legislators, it's actually the restaurant that got the grant.
Well, it's good to know that.
It's great to be with all of you. Very excited to be here representing Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito, to be here in partnership with your legislators to talk about the resources that we have to help local officials, local communities realize their visions for their communities. I should start with our relationship. We've got a really good thing going on in Beacon Hill right now. We have a Republican in the corner office and democratically controlled legislature working together to provide resources so that people like myself and others in the Baker-Polito administration can come out and deliver. It used to be cash, but it's not cash anymore. But to deliver commitments to communities to help realize what communities are looking to do. Democratic controlled legislature, I recognize your legislative delegation here has been an important part of what we do. We have, in an election year, received $3.5 billion worth of economic development bills that we filed and the legislature worked on and sent back to us that were signed into law, so that we can work with cities and towns and do projects like this, to help projects like this. The governor is a former selectman, the lieutenant governor is a former member of her board of selectmen, and I'm a former city manager. So we very much believe in local determination, and our job really is to come to towns like Littleton and see what your see what your goals are and try to help fulfill those goals. I have to tell you, when I came here and I sat with Keith, who I've known for a long time and have admired for a long time, and I'm sure that I share the sentiment of many of you that we're sad to see Keith leaving the role that he's in, but that'll be for another time next week, or the week after. Next week, I think it is. It was great to sit with your Board of Selectmen and talk through what the goals were for this project, and really be able to understand the thinking behind and the commitment to making the Smart Solar project happen. I don't want to say that I have been harassed, but at various stages throughout this process, members of the group up here, Chase is looking down, he doesn't want to acknowledge that, and your legislators have been constantly reminding me of how important this is, how innovative this is, and how much we should support this. Frankly, knowing Keith for as long as I do, I'm not surprised to hear about an innovative idea coming out of Littleton. You've been doing it over and over and over and over again. Many communities would be well served to perform the way that you do here in Littleton, and so the good news is that bipartisan spirit on Beacon Hill gives me the resources to be able to come over here and say to all of you that we're happy to partner with you to provide a piece of the puzzle to make your hopes for the Littleton Common Smart Solar project happen. MassWorks project, we're going around cities and towns. We have approximately $80 million in awards to make to communities large and small around the state to update infrastructure, with that infrastructure then attracting investment. This is a little bit different than most because typically what we expect is we expect a groundbreaking right after we make an award from the private sector to show the investment return right away. But the reason why we're making this award is that not only was I convinced over here, but after we were done with our meeting and we were in the fire station, took a nice tour of the fire station, I went into the community room and I saw around 50, 60, 70 residents really passionate about talking about the future of Littleton. And when I heard people contributing the way they did, I went back and I said to the governor and lieutenant governor, yes, we typically look for an immediate private investment, but Littleton's doing it right. Littleton is getting together, bringing the community in, making sure the stakeholders have an opportunity to contribute to the decisions that are going to be made about the future of the community, and we ought to support that. And the governor said that he agreed as well. So happy to be here today with you. Happy to make an announcement with your support of your legislators. We're providing $1.5 million, an award to. It might have been 1.6 had there been a chocolate frap right here. So we're providing $1.5 million to the town of Littleton to support the Littleton Common Smart Solar project. We are encouraged by what we hear here. We know that it's a much larger project than that. We hope that our contribution continues to inspire others to agree that this is an important project, not only for the town of Littleton, but a demonstration project that the rest of the state and frankly the rest of the country should take notice of. So I want to congratulate everyone for your contributions. Excellent application. Glad that you submitted and glad we could collaborate on it. And I want to thank your legislators for what they do each and every day, working with me, working with the governor to make sure that we have the resources available to come and make such announcements. So congratulations.
Great. Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Secretary Ash. Next, I would like to call up our two legislators, State Senator Jamie Eldridge and State Representative Jim Arcero, who, and before I do, I also want to recognize Paul Matthews, who's here today. He's the Executive Director of the 495 Metro West Partnership, also a member of the Economic Assistance Coordinating Council, which hands out the EDIP grants, and it's been my privilege to be part of Paul's organization, recently serving as vice chair. I could have gone on to.
Well, thank you, Keith. It's been our privilege to have you in that position. So
thank you.
And thank you to the town for allowing Keith to take that time and leadership. So
thanks so much. So I'd like to give the floor to our state legislators who heard what the Littleton Board of Selectmen said was the top legislative priority. And that I think that the board was united and quite firm in what its top priority was, and we're very pleased that you were able to deliver for us this year. And I'll call on Senator Eldridge first, so thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Keith. And this is a really exciting day, not only for Littleton, but I really think the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And I want to thank Secretary Ash for coming to Littleton once again to make this announcement of $1.5 million for the Littleton Common Smart Sewer Project. And as Secretary Ash highlighted, as well as Keith, this really, could be or should be a national model for sustainability. It's talking about keeping water local, decentralizing water. That's something that I've spent a good part of my time as a legislator focusing on, is water infrastructure. Also that it would with the proper state and local investments, pay for itself by the way they would be powered through an anaerobic digester, through food waste. And also it's something that's going to stimulate a downtown that is a wonderful downtown, the Littleton Common, but also could just have even more investment and just be an even more special place. So I really want to thank Secretary Ash for realizing this was a little different project from some of the other projects that MassWorks grants go to. I also just want to thank Nathaniel Thomas, the regional planner for the MassWorks grant. I see Nathaniel, if I don't see Secretary Ash, I see Nathaniel at an announcement. So I really want to thank him for his attention to this region. And I know that the Littleton Smart Sewer Project Committee, looking out so many key stakeholders that were part of this, as well as, of course, the Littleton Board of Selectmen, particularly Chase, who has just spent so much time on this project. And one of the other members, Bob Zimmerman, formerly of the Charles River Watershed Association, has been sitting down with me for years about what is a QWERC, Community Water and Energy Resource Center, which I thought I would memorize, but I couldn't, so I have it right here in writing. But Bob and I served on the Water Infrastructure Finance Commission for the state. That went on for about 3 years, and Bob just highlighted that. This is a vision he's had, again, as a national model for doing water infrastructure right. So I really want to thank him for his leadership on this. And this really has great potential for economic development that really will empower, I think, small businesses. I think sometimes when we're talking about economic development, there's a little bit too much of a focus on the large corporations, but this is something that I really think will deliver for a small downtown. So very proud to be here. I also just really want to say I really think this is a legacy for Keith Bergman. When you think about sustainability, when you think about Keith's leadership on climate change, when you think about what he has done for this town on economic development, as well as some of the key investments in transportation infrastructure, this really ties all those things together. So I want to give him a deep expression of gratitude. He and I have worked on many public policy issues at the state level. We've been at so many of those MAGIC and MAPC breakfasts together, and I really think this is part of his legacy. So I want to thank you, Keith, for your leadership, your vision, and though we have your retirement next week, it has been a true honor to serve with you and to see all the great work you've done here in Littleton. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been just a tremendous honor to work with just these great partnerships. Jamie and I have represented Littleton over the last 10 years, and I think we've broken a record for ribbon cuttings, working with the administration, working with the Board of Selectmen, especially this Board of Selectmen, for all the tremendous projects that we have moving forward in transportation and infrastructure. And I'd first just like to thank the Secretary for listening to us, for the partnerships that we've had here on the grassroots level. And also I'd like to put a shout out to my colleague, Senator Eldridge. When we first sat down with the Board of Selectmen and talked a little bit about how ambitious this project was, one of the things I think Keith had mentioned was this is not a first, this is only a first step. There's a couple of legs to this project. And Senator Eldridge took the leadership, and I applaud him for that, for getting an earmark of $6 million in the environmental bond bill. So you've been hearing a lot about municipal officials here and members of the town and the legislative delegation bothering the secretary. So we're going to continue to bother you for that $6 million. And we're very, very proud of the $1 million that we got today, but that's part of it, and it's going to move forward, so thank you.
Thank you both. And I'm going to call up the Board of Selectmen who are here in just a moment, but I want to recognize that we have members of the business community that are here with us, and I'm delighted that we have the Littleton Business Association President, James Kennedy here. We have our Economic Development Committee Chair, Neil O'Leary. We have our Master Plan Chair, Mike Zeldin. Lots of folks in the room with us. We have Sam Parks, The Point, represented. Thank you, Peter, for being here. We have Northern Bank here. El Forno got the big shout out, so I just want to thank you again. We're really appreciative that to see this interest from the business community. We've got big hopes and plans in store for many. We've had discussions with that's the next town calling. Where's that the hook? We're very glad Northern Bank is got some great plans that we've been in discussions about, and we're looking forward to working some more. Also a great team. We got the shout out to Bob Zimmerman. Thank you, Bob, for your inspiration and perseverance on the Quirk. Quirk is Bob's middle name, I think. But also our team, Weston and Sampson, Kent Nichols here, and really appreciate everything. And shout out to Diane Dickerson in our office, who keeps the wheels moving. So thank you, Diane. And thanks to LCTV and to Anthony Ansaldi, who is my assistant town administrator and the interim town administrator after I leave. And I will just be a phone call away for the next 3 months. But I think it's fitting that we sort of conclude this with hearing from the Board of Selectmen, because for all, yes, the town staff works on it, yes, the community members participate, but you know, it comes with the leadership and I think the bold vision from your elected officials to help move the community forward, and that's the role that the Board of Selectmen plays in this town, and consistently and uniformly. They do so well together. I really appreciated working with boards of selectmen in Littleton over the last 11 years, where the top goal was to do what was in the town's best interest, and everyone approaches that every day. And this big project is in the town's best interest, and is just a great work that comes from the leadership and direction of the Board of Selectmen. So who's our we're going to, this is our team approach that Chairman Paul Glavy, who is our leader and is on the sewer team with our front man on this project, Chase Gerbig. So we're going to invite Chase to the microphone and thank both Paul and Chase for their efforts on this project.
So you guys have heard a lot of thank yous, and I'm going to go through a lot of the same thank yous, but I want to really emphasize sort of why we're thanking each group that we're thanking. And the first group to thank here for this $1.5 million MassWorks grant is the Baker-Polito administration and Secretary Ash. And one of the things that Secretary Ash said really hit home, and that's the administration's focus on allowing communities to determine what is the project, what is the goal that they have, and where do they want to go. And we're really pleased to be able to partner with the administration here in marrying both our goals, our local goals, with the administration's goals. So our local goals really focus on the economic development aspects of what we can do in the common if we're able to put in a sewer. Right? A sewer is going to allow us to unlock a remarkable amount of economic potential. And simultaneously, and you don't get to say this about a lot of infrastructure projects, simultaneously address both local, regional, and frankly, global environmental concerns. And here we're talking about addressing the concerns for groundwater in the common. We're talking about aquifer balance. We're also talking about the regional concerns of landfill waste, and we're talking about the global concerns of carbon mitigation. So by partnering with the administration and allowing the administration to help us tell you what's most important to us, we're really proud to be able to give back and feedback into the administration's objectives at the same time. I also really want to thank our state reps for the work that they've done and frankly for listening to us and again partnering with us so that we can develop a model for water and wastewater infrastructure and economic development that goes hand in hand, and we really expect will serve as a model for other communities in the Commonwealth and as Senator Eldridge said, other communities across the country, because Littleton is not unique in that regard. The Board of Selectmen also really wants to thank our business community and our residents. You know, this MassWorks grant had a number of businesses, many of whom are represented here, and we really appreciate the feedback and the information that we get from the business community and from the residents, because it helps us make projects like this better. And our ability to communicate your individual visions, aggregate those, and the MassWorks is a perfect example of that, and communicate that up to our representatives and to the state really allows all of us to come together in a way that brings projects like this home. And the residents who have taken a really strong fundamental interest in how the revitalization of the common is going to impact them, we can't lose track of the significance of that, because ultimately the economic development doesn't mean anything if we don't have the residents who are served by those businesses. And that's, we hope to be a symbiotic relationship, right? The more the economic development can occur, the more those businesses can serve residents, but the more residents are able to access services here in our community and don't have to go to other communities to access those. So ultimately, this is a project that hits on multiple goals, both local goals and administration goals, private goals, public goals, and we're very, very proud to be able to sort of spearhead this and move it forward. And the last person that I want to thank, and I'm sort of in a long list of folks thanking him, is our town administrator, Keith Bergman, who has, through multiple administrations, right, this, as you heard, this is a project that first was introduced nearly a decade ago, and though boards of selectmen have changed, planning boards have changed, finance committees have changed, Keith has been sort of the guiding and organizing force behind allowing us, the Board of Selectmen, to help realize our goals. And certainly without his continued support, without his skill as an administrator, we would not be able to, as well-intentioned as our ideas might be, we would not be able to bring those to fruition. We would not be able to work with the administration. We would not be able to work with our state representatives. And we would not be able to work with our residents and business community nearly as effectively as we do. So the last person, we really hope that this project sends Keith out on a really high note here, because we're very proud of what we've been able to put together. So with that, thank you, Keith.
Thank you. Thank you, and I want to recognize the other members of the Board of Selectmen that are here today. Joe Knox, who was on the only member left standing of the board that hired me back in 2007, and I've enjoyed every minute of it, Joe. And I'm so thankful to you for letting me come here, and to all of the selectmen for letting me stay here. Cindy Napoli is also on the Board of Selectmen and is just a great driving force for us and for improving this community. And and you're all, and I appreciate Chuck DeCoste, who is working during the day, and had all five of you, Chase and Joe and Cindy, Paul and Chuck, that it's been an honor for me to work for you and to help move projects like this forward. So the people of Littleton are well served by our Board of Selectmen, and thank you for your work. Thank you. All right. So next we're going to transition to the photo op, and I'm going to suggest we do it in a couple of rounds. That we will start with the folks who are up here, if we can do an official one, and then afterwards I want to invite everyone in the room to come up and stand with us for a photo. So,
Awesome.
great, very good.